there. We are here on our next episode of Brighter Days Through Better Mood. And part of the reason why we do this podcast, this journey, is to help take us from those dark days in early January where it was cooler. And today the sun is shining, so I can get rid of this hat and put on this hat because we are relieved to see the sun shining outside. Our days are getting longer. Vaccinations continue to increase. COVID numbers continue to go down, and let's keep up our behaviors to keep that way. But why we are here and why I'm here with my special guest star today, Big Daddy Horton, is to help everyone be the happiest and strongest and the best place they can be by the summer solstice on June 20th. So Dr. Andrew Horton, welcome. I am so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here. I think we just need to talk real quick about the Big Daddy Horton nickname.
I actually said to my husband this morning, I said, I'm really excited today. I get to do a podcast with Big Daddy Horton. And he almost looked at me as if that sounds like some kind of porn star. So you tell us how you got this name, Andrew.
Well, I know Adam, Dr. Deadlift had given me that nickname as we were going through his mentorship, because we would oftentimes FaceTime to talk, and I'd be like, all right, we're going to meet at 8 o'clock. And then I would text him and be like, hey, I'm just going to be 10 minutes late, bedtime's not going as planned tonight. So I know that's kind of how that came about, but also in the clinic here, I've had a couple of nicknames. I was the sugar daddy for a little bit because I would bring in donuts for everybody, and so naturally I was the sugar daddy. And then one of our newer grads one day was like, I'm not sure if I should call you this, but he's like, he's like, you're my clinic daddy. And I was like, all right, that's kind of weird, but if that's how you look at me, I'll be your daddy if that's what you need. So I'm whatever anybody needs. So.
Well, it's really fun for me because I look back over time and I still remember the day when I met you and you were actually a student at URI. And for anyone who's interested to see what Andrew looked like back then, it was a different kind of look. We maybe had to come up with that picture. Look at that.
Nice.
And if they say that people age well, I would say, Big Daddy Horton, you have aged well. Different look you had going on those days. And I think I'll put out there another reason why I think of you as Big Daddy Horton is because you have managed to get through what's been a super challenging year. It's been a crappy year for everyone, professionally and personally. But you have done it not only as a physical therapist, but also managing to do it with your wife, who's also a physical therapist. Meg Horton is out there working over at Genesis. So we've got two PTs taking care of what one day will be professional soccer players. The names Landon and Mia, the two beautiful little kids. So you've managed to get through a pandemic as a working father, parent, as Meg was a working mother, parent. I mean, that's a lot. That's a huge amount. You've certainly learned how to adult if you didn't know how to do that before. So one of the things that we really want to hear about today is some of the strategies that you utilized over the year, especially when it comes to motivating and figuring out how to exercise in your own home. Because I think the pandemic has given us all the opportunity to get rid of any excuses not to exercise, because we can all do it in our homes. We want to hear about that. We want to hear about your advice, your tips, your tricks. We want to hear the answers to questions. So people who are out there, please, here is your chance to ask Dr. Horton or Big Daddy Horton anything you want to, but especially related to working out and exercising. Because we all know that movement is medicine, and it will help you be happier and healthier as we get through this year. So we look forward to questions. Please know that for all of people who have entered into our drawing, which you can enter for this week as well as future drawings at performanceptri.com live, it's down below there. Go to that website, sign up. But if you comment today, let us know who's listening. Let us know where you are, and you will get an extra entry. And today we are giving away a Hyperice Hypersphere Mini that's worth $99. These wonderful vibrating balls can certainly do the trick when you're wanting to ease the pain, ease some soreness, get a beautiful little focus massage onto those trigger points and tender points. So let's hear it, Andrew. Tell us about your greatest wins, like what you learned most about how to fit an exercise at home over the last year. I want to hear about the wins, but I also want to hear about the mistakes you made as well. And what
Sure. Yeah, so there was a lot of losses at first. I think the biggest challenge for us was, we were used to going to our gym that was down the street, and we couldn't do that anymore. And now, we went from, having time built into our day for that, and not having to, worry about taking care of our kids, to when the pandemic first hit, my wife was pregnant and we had my son at home, and now we didn't have a babysitter. So we were constantly juggling, like one person goes to work, the other person's watching the kid, and then we would, one person would come home, go to work, and then you're taking care of the kid. So that was tough at first to kind of figure out what can we do? But, we would get outside a lot and exercise, as far as just going on nice walks. And that was great. The big challenge came when, my daughter was born in June, and now we've got 2 kids at home, and, gym's still closed. So we're still trying to figure that out. And for us, the gym wasn't even an option at that point anymore, because we just had to, worry about taking care of our family. So we talked a lot about putting together a home gym. And so that's kind of what we did. And, we had to kind of reframe. The biggest thing, I think, was reframing how we thought about exercise, because I'm not a Dr. Deadlift, but I do enjoy going to the gym. And, my background, I grew up, my dad owned a fitness center. So I was always used to going to the gym and spending, an hour and a half in the gym working out. So I kind of had to reframe my mindset with, I was telling myself, I don't have time to exercise right now, so I can't exercise. And I had to kind of just change my thought on it. No, I need to exercise. That needs to be part of my day, because I know it gives me more energy. I'm a better parent, better husband, better coworker when I do get in that exercise. So I had to figure out, how do I make that part of my day? So I had to tell myself, it's okay that your exercise might only be 20, 25, 30 minutes today, depending on what's going on. But I just had to make sure that I made it part of my day. And once I started doing that, just getting in that little bit of exercise motivates you more to to the next time they exercise. And so that's kind of where I think I started being really successful, when I would change the way I thought about exercise, and just knew I didn't have an hour and a half to mess around at the gym.
I really like your statement about looking at the change in mindset, because I think you bring up a great point, is that for someone like yourself, which are many of our listeners, we've figured out how to, before COVID, exercise. You didn't really think about exercising, because what you did was something you enjoyed. You like going to the gym. There's a social element. It's a destination. It's an escape. And you probably didn't realize how much good was happening from the gym, because it was something you did. And once it was taken away, that social side was gone, but now you also suffered all the consequences of not exercising. So how do you figure out how to building that in? And my hope is, with the pandemic, that for people people who exercise, their mindset will change a little bit, and we won't just exercise because we enjoy it. We'll figure out how to fit it into our lifestyle, because it is just really good for us. Let's have a little fun. Let's have a little competition, see who we can go for the longest. We're not going to plank or deadlift or do anything like that, because I know that the big daddy will beat the old lady. You could call me Grandma Collie maybe one of these days. My kids. Actually, no, let's not do that. Let's go through a list of all the reasons why it's good to exercise. And they can be scientific, they can be your bias, they can be whatever you think. You go first.
So I think sort of what we're already talking about, just the mental benefits of exercise. It makes you feel good, puts you in a better mood. I think it allows you to focus better at the other things that you have to do throughout the day. It gives you more energy.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to tell you it helps manage your BMI, so it gives you enough muscle mass and helps manage your weight so that I can still feel comfortable in a bikini, at least in my backyard.
Nice. You want me to keep going, or?
I do, absolutely, man. This is a competition.
Oh, okay, between you. All right, I gotcha.
Just you and I. The mental part, I've got the weight management. What next?
It helps with just decreasing your pain. When we exercise, we know, especially with some of the research that's come out over the last few years, that if you have chronic pain, one of the best things that you can do is exercise. So,
love it. I love it. All right, next one, I'm going to say that if you exercise, you will use more energy and you will then sleep better. So improved sleep helps you with your quality of life.
Obviously, exercise will help you get stronger, so you can lift your kids up and not feel like you're gonna break your back or be sore at the end of the day.
Excellent. And I'll add to that. It improves your balance so that you decrease your risk of falls. Now, because I'm Grandma Collie, there's an increased risk of me hurting myself when I'm falling. But if I can do a push-up, it's less likely that I'm going to break my hip or smash my face in. Your turn, Andrew.
When you exercise, you burn calories, so you can eat more. You can enjoy the things that you enjoy eating and not feel bad about it.
Absolutely. I won't give my credit for this one. I'll just say you can also drink more if you want to have a margarita or a glass of wine. You can exercise before you do that. So I'll just add on to that one. But I'll add another one. It decreases your risk of certain chronic illnesses. I'll bundle them all together. It decreases your risk of diabetes. It decreases your risk of hypertension, certain kinds of cancer, certain kinds of GI issues, and obesity. So exercise really has been proven to help minimize or decrease the risk of chronic disease.
That's right. I mean, we always say exercise is medicine. And it's one of those things that, like you said, with like diabetes and other comorbidities, it will help manage those things without having to take a pill. So
I can see you struggling, Andrew. I'm hoping that you say you win, Michelle.
I'll tap out.
All right. Okay, we'll tap out. All right, the things there. But you brought up some great points, and it's nice to hear Roxanne, it is nice to hear that you're out there and that you've had more energy from moving more from watching these live videos. So that is the greatest gift, Roxanne, that you just gave me, to know that we've motivated someone to move some more and feel better because of watching us. Perfect. I love it. Thank you so much for that feedback. And you've also found that you have less pain. You just became a spokesperson for exercising. So Roxanne, thank you so much for that. Andrew, tell us some of the mistakes you made.
So one of the mistakes I made at first was, so I was trying to exercise in the morning, and with having a baby at home, our sleep patterns were all over the place, very disrupted. And, I would set my alarm to go work out, and I have my phone right next to me in bed. So I'd wake up and I'd take a look at my phone. You start scrolling through Facebook and Instagram, and then, 25, 30 minutes later, you're like, oh, I don't have enough time to exercise. So what's really worked for me in that regard was I take my phone and I'll just set it up. I'll either charge it somewhere where I have to get up out of bed, or I'll leave it downstairs. So the benefit has been kind of twofold, because now I'm not looking at my phone before I go to bed. So I just go, when it's time to go to bed, I go right to bed and can get some good sleep that way. And then when my alarm goes off in the morning, it forces me to get up, and I'll have to go downstairs. If I can get up out of bed, even if sleep hasn't been great that night, but if I can get up and start walking and moving around, that forces me to just go hop on my treadmill for a couple of minutes. And then if I can do that, I'll wake up, and that's kind of like my 20 minutes of waking up. And then I can scroll through my phone while I'm on the treadmill. And then I woke up, warmed up, and then I'm ready to get into my workout. So
I love it. And I think you bring up some really great points there. You're really setting up the environment for you to be successful. And so often that is those habits. And we did put a poll out there about how people exercising, so calling a patient, which impacts your exercise routine the most, time, or is it energy? And, and I'd almost put another one in there, such as procrastination, because, or just poor habits. What did our patients have to say? Let's hear what their summary was. The results were split. Okay, half the people said that they lacked the energy, some lacked the time. But I think you just gave a great example, Andrew, is you don't feel like you have the energy. And if you start scrolling on your phone, then you don't have time either. But if you set your environment up right, remove your phone, just get your butt out of bed and get on the treadmill. You know that once you get going, you're going to be okay. There's another habit you've put in there, as they often say, team your habits with something you've got to do anyway. So yours was you've got to get up and walk down the stairs. All right, you're already out. What goes next? Walking on the treadmill. Layering these habits on top of each other can help us actually with our motivation and with our time, which are wonderful excuses for not getting things done. So great tips there, Andrew. So you're still a morning worker outer?
I would say that's for the most part. So one of my, other things that has helped me be successful is, trying to schedule my workout time. So I do try to schedule it in the morning, before the kids wake up, because that's, my best workouts are definitely when it's not disrupted by, having to change a diaper or something like that. So I try to do that most of the time, but sometimes I do still want to hit snooze and I'll sleep, but I know that at some point during the day I need to work out. So I will still I'll still work out with my kids. So I saw this thing. It was like an Instagram video. This woman she was working out and she had her kid in the car seat, and it was just this thing. It said no excuses, and she's working out while her kid's just sitting in the car seat. And I was like, damn, I'm I need to make sure I do this because it's so important to me and I know how good I feel with it. So I can't have any excuses. So I'll have both kids sometimes in the afternoon when I get home from work. If I didn't work out in the morning, I'll get everybody set up downstairs in my little home gym. So I'll set up my daughter with maybe her bottle or some sort of activity, some toys on the ground. And then my son, he's, I might put on a show for him on the TV because we have a TV right there. So I'll get him set up with that. If he doesn't want to work out with me, sometimes he's very interested in what I'm doing. And with him, sometimes I have to convince him, we got to go work out. And he's really into this whole concept of good guys versus bad guys. Because I'll just say to him, Landon, you're such a good boy. And he'll be like, we don't like bad guys, right, Dad? And I'll be like, you're right, we don't. And so now I use it as hey, we need to go work out so we can make sure the bad guys don't want to mess with us. So I also use it to get him to eat his food and pretty much anything. And hopefully it doesn't cause him to always be looking over his shoulder for a bad guy and stuff. But that's been a huge help too, is if I can get them down there and I'll have 25 minutes to work out. And with my daughter, if she's starting to cry, I'll pick her up and use her as a weight for one of my circuits for a little bit. And then I'll put her in a bouncy chair. So she's type of, I think kids under 1, it's you just have to give them a little activity to do for 10 minutes and maybe they can stick to it. And then you got to move them to the next thing and then they're good till the next, cry, whenever that happens. So I can work out with them, and it's just my mindset has to be a little bit different too with that. Like, there's going to be interruptions. She might crap herself, and I have to go change a diaper in the middle of it. But I keep my my exercise watch on, and I'm still burning calories and trying to keep going with my workout. So no excuses. So that's what it comes down to.
How do you feel after you've worked out, when you've changed a poopy diaper and you've got rid of the bad guys?
Actually, I mean, those workouts are sometimes can be a little more rewarding because you're like, oh, I am winning at parenting and I just worked out. So it's a double win in that sense. And then, I'm ready to go play and with my kids and focus on them that much more. So it's a really, it's a good accomplishment.
You sound like a really good dad. That sounds like a perfect thing. I wish I kind of had a camera on the wall to see you going from squatting with Mia to like chasing bad guys to changing a poopy nappy to doing planks. It must be, there we go. You look ready to go. And I love seeing your gym with your dad's gym sign up behind you, Horton's gym.
Yes.
That was out there in Somerset, and your barbells and your beautiful 2 children. That's really awesome. What a great way to set an example for our next generation. And I certainly love it when I hear of any parent who's modeling behaviors so that their kids will understand that, yeah, exercise isn't always perfect. You can't always go to the gym. You can't always have this perfect 1 hour to do treadmill or run or do your exercise. Sometimes it's messy, and that's okay. That's okay. What are your favorite exercises to do when you're at home?
So yeah, we over the last few months we've put together. We started with just a couple of adjustable dumbbells, and then we got a adjustable squat rack and that you can squat and bench at, and then more recently we've purchased some kettlebells. So I try to mix it up with those 3 things that I have, but I'm definitely a meathead in the sense that I love to use my bench press with the bar. I like to squat, and I like to deadlift. Those are definitely like my top 3 because they're you can lift some heavy weights with it. You can they're compound movements, so you're really getting your biggest bang for your buck. And they make some noise when there's some clanging and banging, so that makes me feel like I'm back at Horton's gym and sweating and grunting down there. So
maybe if we'd known this, I would have maybe called you Meathead Horton rather than Big Daddy Horton.
Hey, it's a mentality that you just I was brought up with, and it doesn't go away. So
let's talk a little bit about. You use the word compound exercises, which I think is a great word and something that listeners out there want to hear about, and why the biggest bang for your buck. Why is it really awesome to do a squat rather than sitting on a machine doing leg extension, and maybe just help the audience out there understand what a compound exercise is.
Right. So especially if you're pressed for time, you can really, you can work multiple muscle groups with one exercise versus like sitting down on a machine and using a machine. So like, maybe doing like a squat, or like a squat into a push press, like into a shoulder press. That would be a compound movement. So you're moving multiple joints at once versus like an isolated movement where you're just using one joint. And I think you'll burn a lot more calories that way too. And you have to use a lot of different muscles to help stabilize while you perform whatever movement it is. So there's a lot of benefit to that.
I think it's a great way to be creative as well, and continue to work muscles in slightly different ways. You talk about a squat. We did this a lot with Dr. Deadlift last week, but a deadlift's a great example of that, but so is a squat. You can squat with your feet in different positions. You can add in shoulder presses or arm curls. You can do it on different level ground to work muscles in different ways. You can do single leg squat. There's so many. You can add a trunk rotation while you're doing it. I mean, some of these very simple exercises that you don't even need equipment for, there's no reason why you can't do them in your home without any weights or while you're holding an infant.
Right. You can throw a kid on your back. You can hold a kid in front of you, so they can be your weight. And yeah, like you said, you don't need to have a fancy setup at home as far as like a lot of weights and stuff. You can grab your laundry basket, or you can grab a bucket and throw some tools or whatever in it to give yourself some sort of resistance to make it more challenging.
So resistance training, do you want to speak a little bit for the listeners out there about how often you are doing resistance or strength training, how often you do it, and as a meathead, I mean, maybe you do it a little more than others, or maybe how you spread it out, but yet what is just the recommended amount just for people to optimize their strength and maintain their muscle mass over time?
Yes. So I would say, I think, strength training, if you can perform it 3 times a week, that's like would be most ideal. But so yeah, I try to get those workouts in 3 times a week. Sometimes it's only twice, but yeah, I would at least try to shoot for 3.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Now, when you work out, do you do every muscle group each time you work out? Do you do some compound exercises, or are you one of the people who says, oh, today I do back and buys, or I do upper body, this day I did lower body? I want to speak a little bit to people about how they should consider how they do strength training.
Sure. Yeah. So when I had more time and I was going to the gym, I might just do like one muscle group, or do like a back and buys type day or something like that. But with the way things are right now, to get my biggest bang for my buck for those days that I can work out and for the time that I have, I try to make like little circuits. And my circuits, it's a pretty basic formula where I've got one of my like core lifts, which could be like my bench press, my squat, my deadlift, and then I'll do like a circuit with like an upper body exercise and a lower body exercise and maybe a core exercise. So my circuits are either 3 or 4 exercises, and I'll try and do a circuit like 3 or 4 times, and then if I have time, I'll do a second circuit. If not, then that might be all I do, and that that usually takes me to at least 25 to 30 minutes. And the other big thing that I like to do is I'll map it out the day before, so I'm not like spending time before my workout trying to figure out what I'm going to do. So it's a nice thing too, I think, the day before you work out is to take 5-10 minutes to just kind of map out your workout, write it down, or type it into your phone. And it's another piece that kind of motivates me. I'll do it before I go to bed, so it's another thing that will motivate me to wake up in the morning. Like, I'm looking forward to that workout, and yeah, it's already mapped out, so I know what I'm doing, and then I go and hit the gym. So.
Well, I think those are great tips, and other great habits that you've developed over the years. The writing things down, planning them out, are all things that we can do to be more successful. Again, setting up the environment, because it's certainly not like you get halfway through a day and go like, oh yeah, I should exercise today, because then you're going to say, I don't have time or the energy, or I've got to think about what I'm going to do. The planning, the setting up the environment are all the ways that we can be successful in fitting exercise into our days. Andrew, what are you most looking forward to in the months to come?
I'm looking forward to, as things start to open up, I'm looking forward to being, more social and seeing friends and going to I love going to live sports events. I miss getting together with friends, especially, friends who are in the same situation as me with a young family at home, and being able to hang out and have a few cocktails with my buddies while our kids run around and stuff. So as when we could hang out outside during the summer, that was like something that we got to do. And then as the COVID numbers were starting to go back up and it was getting cooler out, and with both my wife and I being healthcare professionals, we kind of went into we call it hobbit mode, where we were just kind of staying with just our immediate family in the house. So looking forward to getting back outside, being social, and hopefully maybe go to some sort of sports event soon.
I have to say that sometimes I envy people like you, although then sometimes I don't, because we were in Hobbit mode as well, but I have teenagers and they talk back to you. I mean, I don't have to change any dirty nappies or diapers, as you call them, but I do have to listen to teenagers and all the BS that you have to deal with them. All right, let's see who's going to win this Hypersphere today. Again, the Hypersphere valued at $99. We have these products at all of our clinics, Hyperice products, and we certainly are seeing ourselves utilizing them a lot more in our clinics and our patients utilizing them as well. So here we have my friend Nick Valletta. Nick Valletta is doing a random drawing. Who is our lucky winner today?
Our winner today is Mallory Ruotolo. Congratulations, Mallory. You won the Hypersphere Mini.
So, Mallory, we will get that to you. We will reach out to you. And for all our other listeners out there, please sign up on performanceptri.com/live, and you will be entered in the drawing every single week right through to the solstice. Next week, let's see who we have joining us next Thursday at 1 o'clock. Oh, I am really excited. We're giving away another Hyperice. It's like a foam roller, Hyperice, all in one. We are meeting with Dr. Leah Katzos, and we're going to really get into the mind-body connection, look at mindfulness and your body. And I do know from speaking to Leah that we are going to be touching on pelvic health, women's health issues. So I'm really looking forward to getting away from the Dr. Deadlift, meathead, Big Daddy Horton kind of theme and being a little bit more mindful. But my sense is you even mentioned the word mindfulness and how you've evolved over the years. Andrew, any favorite TV shows or books or podcasts that you have listened or watched that you would like to share with our audience?
Sure. As far as podcasts go, there's this podcast that I really enjoy called Broken Record. I like I'm into music, and I like hearing like the background of an artist, their upbringing, or like their like motivation behind certain like songs and stuff. So it's a pretty cool podcast with Malcolm Gladwell and Rick Rubin, who's like a very famous producer who's produced a lot of different artists over the years, and they interview these different artists that are old school to new school. So that's something I've enjoyed listening to over the last year. Also got into a couple of different shows. I like Queen's Gambit. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh, it's so good.
Initially, like I heard about it and I was like, oh, it's about like someone who plays chess. I don't think that could be that interesting, but it was so good, and yeah, it's very entertaining. And I initially thought when I first watched it, I was like, oh, this is like a true story, because it was like just how they had like the timeline and everything, but it's not. But it's still it's still really interesting.
Yeah, I'm not a TV watcher. However, I did watch that and I really enjoyed it, and it makes me want to play chess.
Right. And we'll have to play each other sometime.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that when we get together, is have a game of chess. I don't think I'm going to be very good because I'm not that patient, but I think that I want to be good at it. I think it could be something we do over cocktails as we get older, after we've worked out the gym. All right, Andrew Horton, it has been such a pleasure to have you here. And again, for people out there, join us next week. Andrew, you now have 10 seconds for your best advice, your best words of wisdom. You have the stage now to say whatever you would like. It's all yours.
All right. So we kind of touched on it earlier, but just the fact that movement really is medicine. There's not a magic pill out there that's going to help you. And movement may not always cure all of your pain, but it can really help you. Even if whatever your pain is, you're going to feel better just with any sort of exercise movement. So movement is medicine. Get out there and move.
All right. If I had the Shrek movie playing, I'd say I'd have Move It playing in the background. Andrew, thank you, and all the best to you and Meg and to your darling children, and keep being the best Big Daddy ever. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you. See you guys soon.